What's up, guys? Welcome to Roensch Capital Charts. Today we're taking a look at Palantir stock, ticker symbol PLTR, on a variety of time frames in anticipation of the next trading day, Thursday, May 23rd. Alright guys, so Palantir stock here today down 7 cents per share. That's minus 0.33% in regular trading hours. It is up a little bit, about 21 cents or so here in the after hours. Of course, that's, likely due to riding the back of the Nvidia pump that we've been seeing here after hours. But listen, as always, guys, with news that is not specifically business, or I should say, that is not business specific, and on low volume in the after hours, just make sure you take it with a bit of a grain of salt. Earnings are a little different because it's a fundamental repricing of a particular stock, and it can actually tend to reprice kind of an umbrella, or more so the industry itself. But just take it with a grain of salt because volume is low. But listen, let's take a look here at Palantir heading into tomorrow and really get the best grasp on this stock as we possibly can for the day. Okay, we're going to take a look at a number of things. Let's start with our volume profile analysis, trying to pull out bullish and or bearish bias here on the 5-minute chart. Listen, by the way, guys, if you are new here or you haven't done so already, Palantir is a daily upload. I cover this stock every single day, so I appreciate you subscribing to the channel. My goal here is 10,000. And I think we can hit that soon, but of course, not without your help. So I greatly appreciate it. And let's take a look. So listen, it's a very small red day. Okay, but we had this more aggressive sell-off here, kind of like mid-afternoon. If we take a look at the profile, very normal open and a fade off in volume. That's all normal. There's really nothing there. Here we got a start of a little bit of a pop, but there's not enough there to assign any bias. Now through here, we look here. And realistically, guys, this pop is not really what I'm looking at, that single bar, because first of all, you see that wick on that candle? That tells us that that was a battle bar, a lot of buying and selling going on the same bar. So there's too much of a risk. Okay, first of all, you're dealing with a lot of buying volume on that bar, helping to pump up volume, but there's too much of a risk to assign bias based on one single outlier. What I'm really looking at are the other bars mixed in here. You see an increase, a fade off, increase, fade off. What that tells me is there's probably, I would say, maybe 5 to 10% bearish bias, which is not a lot, right, on a scale of 1 or 0 to 100, I suppose. Like 5 to 10% bearish bias on that move, which perhaps is a little light for the aggressive nature of that sell-off. However, based on the end of day of just down 7 cents, it's a very light red day. It kind of matches the bearish bias in the price action, which, for you bears is not the worst thing to see. Perhaps, you could argue that seeing aggressive bearish bias in the volume profile, but only a 7% down day, a 7 cent down day would actually not be great because it would show some kind of resilience that we're not getting in the volume profile. So bears, not a horrible day, but of course you barely won the day. It's only down 7 cents. So due to that, let's move on. Let's move on to something much more simple and I think highly effective, especially today when it's more of a neutral day. We need something to look at here in terms of levels that trade decisions are going to be made off of from a big sample size of eyeballs and therefore money. So let's start here with the 30-minute chart, looking at the psychological levels. This white line is the 50 period. That gray line is the 200 period. Now you can see here, guys, remember yesterday we were kind of beneath both? And if we were to get a rejection hard off the 50 period today and start trending downside, that would have been a nice thing to look at for the bears, right? Bulls, that would not have been a good look. However, today we kind of held that off. It was sloppy. Okay, we attempted to get upside. We held it actually for a good portion of the day before selling off after those FOMC minutes hit. Now, we have reclaimed it in the after hours, but again, remember, that's off the back of Nvidia. We're going to see a little bit lower volume there in the after hours, especially on Palantir, since it's not business specific, more of an umbrella push of the industry itself. So I'm taking that lightly, right, that break. Here's what I'm really looking at tomorrow, because we are currently beneath both as of the closing price. Tomorrow, bulls. If we can get above that 50 period, entering the intraday session, or maybe we fade back and then retake it during the intraday session. However that happens, during the intraday session, what I want to see is the stock come in from above, a low volume retest of the 50 period, and then a high volume bounce. that's the best way to make some confirmation of short-term support on that 50 period. Now, we started to see that here, but it was rather indecisive, right? It was kind of a weak bounce. Even though we saw volume come back in a little bit here today, we could not have really accounted for that news-driven give up of the 50 period. All right, so tomorrow, looking more so to really confirm that as at least very short-term support, especially on the 30-minute, things can change quick. So each confirmation is the most short-term, I would say, on the 30-minute compared to the 4-hour and daily. Now, bears, for you guys, get down. If we end up opening above the 50 period, then get down ideally beneath the 50 period on high volume. Again, very simple. Low volume retest, high volume rejection to kind of reconfirm that as resistance. That'd be a good look for you guys. Now, the 4-hour chart, let's take a look. You can see here we closed right beneath the 50 period here on the 4-hour, and we're currently getting right above it in the after hours. So as of the close, the biggest sample size of volume that we had, we're beneath that. So bears, if we could reject off that 50 period tomorrow, that's ideally the best way to set up more of a longer term descending 50 period and rejection kind of relationship. That's good if you're a bear to see, right? You want to see that on as many time frames as possible, that same kind of look. Bulls, if we could confirm this break that we're seeing in the after hours by getting up through, and then again, it probably needs to be looked at on a shorter time frame chart, like the 1 minute or the 5 minute. But if we can get a retest, just like look at the 4-hour on the, or the 50 period on the 4-hour, figure out where it is. Right now it's at 2136. It's likely to change. And then look at that level on the 5 minute or the 1 minute, because of course the level will still be respected on a different chart because it exists on the 4-hour, which people are watching. And if we can get a confirmation and then a bounce, that would retake that as a support level on the 4-hour, which we haven't really seen in a couple of days. We gave that up just a few days ago. Now, the daily, guys. The daily is the most contextual and it's the most important. We were talking about this $21 to $22 channel recently. That even more recently tightened up to about $21.50 to $22, about a 50-cent channel. Well, recently that got pushed back to a $21 to $22 channel. Each whole dollar on Palantir is going to be a psychological level. Here's what I'm watching, guys. Bulls. I don't really want to give up 21, ideally, because that has been a relevant level for a little while now, at least a couple of weeks. Giving up 21 is what the bears are ideally looking for, right? Give up 21, claim 21 as resistance rather than support. You see that support turn into resistance. Bears, that's kind of the beginning of that stair-stepping downside mentality, right? Whereas bulls, the real goal is to start that stair-stepping upside mentality, which requires a break and hold of 22 and then a break and hold of the 50-day and then look to break and hold 23. That all starts, though, with holding 21 as support. Now, implied volatility, take a look here, guys. Compared to the last week or so, it's approximately flat. Compared to the last month, it's very low. And compared to the last 3 months, it's also quite low. So, very important to understand it, especially if you're trading options, to try to position yourself in the most effective manner possible. Now, expected move. Let's take a look. We, of course, have weekly expirations here on Palantir. So we have the expected move by Friday's close, that May 24th expiration, compared to today's close, is plus or minus 75 cents per share. So here's what we do to get tomorrow's expected move. Take 75 cents per share, divide that by 2 trading days. That's Thursday and Friday, right? Add back 50%, which gives us a plus or minus expected move of 56 cents per share, and then shave a little off since it's Wednesday. We only have 2 more trading days left, so adding back 50% I find to be a little bit heavy, but I still like to do it the same way. So it's just those 2 factors left, right? The reason we're adding back 50% is to make up for the fact that the initial calculation assumes all red days or all green days. That makes a lot of sense to add back 50%, at least in this market. That seems to be working the best when it's like Monday, Tuesday, right? Once we get down to 2 trading days left, it seems to be a little heavy. So I'm looking at this thinking, okay, it seems like Palantir, or at least the traders, are expecting a move of somewhere between plus or minus maybe 40 to 50 cents. Okay, tomorrow, approximately. But also remember that was priced in before NVIDIA earnings hit, but we knew that we're going to see some volatility, or the traders knew that we were going to see some volatility likely due to NVIDIA earnings, so that probably also got priced into the chain already. So we're going to leave it at that. About 40 to 50 cents, to me, feels like the expectation that Palantir traders are currently pricing in tomorrow. Now, directional bias. Head down to volume. We have just under 200,000 contracts traded. 141,000 of them were calls. 57,000 were puts. So pretty heavy call side bias on the overall ratio. Then we break that down by time frame, right? The 0 to 20 delta range, those short-term speculators. We're seeing about 54,600 calls and about 15,200 puts. So again, volume's a little lower, take that with a grain of salt, but a pretty heavy bullish bias out of the short-term speculators as well. Neither of which, by the way, is uncommon on Palantir. We're seeing and have been seeing for at least, I would say, 4 months now, minimum, pretty heavy bullish bias on Palantir rather consistently, which is interesting. You know, these stocks tend to go through cycles. Listen, guys, if you're getting value out of the daily Palantir videos, please leave a like on the video and then get out of here and enjoy your day. It's the best thing you can do to help grow the channel. It's free and it takes like half a second. Listen, I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.